Awesome. Okay. Hello, everyone. Hello, Mothering Freely Tribe. This is Casey VanPutten. I know I had a lot of new ads this month, so I just want to introduce myself real quick. I'm Casey. I'm a certified EFT practitioner. The EFT stands for Emotional Freedom Techniques, and I work a lot with moms, and I not only use the tool with moms, but I also teach them how to teach your kids how to tap as well, which with everything that's going on right now, we could all use a little bit of tapping. Am I right? So joining me tonight, I'm so excited. I have Katie Walker and Jules Vandermaat, and I just am so excited for what they're doing right now for the world. They are from Australia. So selfishly, I just love to hear them talk anyway. I love accents. Who doesn't? But they're going to be talking tonight about something that's really important, because I know that they were saying in Australia, but it's the same for the US, that a lot of people are struggling right now, moms in particular, because we're juggling so many different things on how to cope with stress. And a lot of people are finding themselves turning to substance abuse and wine, and it's just in all the memes and all my groups, everyone's talking about locking themselves in closets with a bottle of wine. Like, that's happening right now. And so I just am curious about their program and how that can help support moms right now, because we need all the support that we can get. I was just telling them a quick story. I was like, honestly, when I first heard that school had shut down, I was like, oh my gosh. And I walked over to the refrigerator, grabbed my raspberry vodka, poured a glass, and like knocked it out. And I was like, oh my gosh, here we go. This is a roller coaster. And I don't drink a lot, maybe like 1 or 2 drinks a week, but I enjoy it to relax. But it's like, gosh, I find myself doing more EFT tapping, but I'm sure if I didn't have that tool, I might be reaching for it. I'm not going to lie. So I'm so curious about their program and how it's incorporating EFT tapping, which I love, into it. So Katie, do you want to share a little bit about Sober October?
Yeah, absolutely, Cassie, and thank you so much for having us. Hello, ladies. Just very quickly in terms of the backstory. So I don't know that you have the same thing, but in July we have what's called Dry July, which is essentially abstaining for a month.
Everyone does it?
No.
You don't know, no. Oh. It's an opportunity to actually raise.
I'm like, oh God! Hold up! I think America would like go on strike with that. Okay.
Yeah.
Now we're on the same page. Go ahead.
A whole lot of tapping involved with Dry July. So I actually do it every year with my husband, and Jules and I were having a chat about it. Jules hadn't had alcohol for a month prior to July, and she was like, ooh. Given that we're both EFT practitioners and that's our business, we thought, well, she said, let's organise a program. So we put our heads together to work out how we could make this work for particularly women, because it is hard. It is hard to think about not having a drink, and particularly during tougher times. But I think it's been around in terms of that focus on women drinking and coping, with the wine for a really long time. But it's now just so obvious. So the program we pulled together is really an opportunity to work with women across the world. Now in July we actually had Northern Hemisphere groups, which was fantastic, or Northern and Southern Hemisphere groups, which was fantastic. And the group really enables the opportunity to work one-on-one prior to actually starting the program. So really understanding what their relationship is with alcohol, because it all is very different. There's a lot of work around the fear of even going without for a few days, or the shame of where they're at in their relationship. So we work through that initially. We introduce EFT and do an introductory EFT training for them, for people who don't know it, because that's the key component of our program, is really education, but then working through via tapping the emotional stuff, the thinking stuff,
the cravings.
The cravings, absolutely. So we do a one-on-one with each person. Then we do live weekly sessions, which comprises 2 hours. One is around tapping, so we choose, or someone will hopefully put their hand up to volunteer to do a demonstration with them to get both benefits for the rest of the group. And then we really talk about alcohol and how it is in our society and why it's in our society and why we think we can't go without alcohol. And yeah, so it's a 5-week program, and we had a lot of success from the last one. We've got women in there who thought they couldn't go a week without drinking, who are still not drinking.
Yeah.
So that says it all, really.
Awesome. Yeah. And I was asking you guys before, it's like, I know that so many women are like, you know, just, I mean, it hits like 5, 6 o'clock and we're grabbing for the wine, and it's like, well, I'm not drinking during the day. So is it really an issue? It's just hard to kind of decide, like, when is it too much? When do I have an issue? Is there like a checklist for that? Like, how do you kind of determine when, like, I might need this program?
Yeah. So I think, you know, what we've found in talking to women, particularly with the pandemic, so women are trying to work from home, they're trying to homeschool, and a lot of women have said to me, I'm actually starting more at like 4 o'clock when it was 6 o'clock, or sometimes I'm starting at 3 o'clock. So the time in which they're starting is creeping up. The time, you know, like I know for myself, I would set a goal to have 3 alcohol-free nights a week, and that seemed like that should be so doable. But then, you know, Monday night would come and I'd be like, oh, but we've been invited out for dinner, or there's a barbecue, or, you know, there's always some good reason to have a drink, really. It's not hard to find a reason. Things are stressful. I've had a hard day at work. You know, we create reasons in our head, because that is what we refer to as the wine witch. You know, she'll say, but you've had such a stressful day, and, you know, you've come home and no one's done anything around the house, or you have to do everything. Or so I think every woman we speak to has their own little version of, I know it's gone too far, because like every morning I'm waking up at 3 a.m.
Okay.
It's not 3 mornings a week. It's maybe 6 mornings a week. And the only morning I'm not waking up like that, hungover and, you know, hating myself, is because I didn't drink last night because I was so hungover from the night before. So this is kind of what we're hearing, and that it's become, you know, we teach a lot about the science of how alcohol gradually creeps up on us to go from being just a social thing. Well, nobody's really socializing anymore. So, you know, like for a lot of the mums that we're working with, they might have been previously called themselves, you know, social drinkers or occasional drinkers, and now they're at home with kids all day trying to homeschool and do their jobs, and they're drinking home alone. And so for lots of women, they were like, I was never going to be that person pouring a glass of wine alone. Or, you know, maybe they were used to having a glass of wine while they were cooking dinner a few nights a week, and now that's every night, because the stress has hiked up a number of notches.
Yeah.
And what we know is that you know, when we start to drink in times of stress and we're using it to kind of self-medicate, to numb out a bit from just it's too much, then the brain can easily become, you know, and like I said, we talk about as a wine witch, to say, you know, that thing you did when you felt really stressed and then you had the wine, that really helps. So you really need to do that again. And then, you know, like we said, it's easy to come up with reasons why to have a drink rather than not to have a drink. So
and I think what I've noticed just with myself, like when I drink, it like numbs it, but when I tap, it like clears it, right? And so those feelings, like, they are out of you, but the numbing just buries them down, right? And I think that's where EFT tapping really, really shines as a modality, is to prevent it, clears it out, and then also prevents future, you know, feelings. So talk to me about EFT and how that works with the brain, and you know, how that helps with cravings. You know, how does it stop you from wanting a drink?
Well, I guess as you just said, it clears out the craving. So that's a big piece, and Jules did mention that and prompted me on that. That's one of the pieces that we work on initially with the participants. It's either the fear of doing it and the thought of, how am I going to go without to actually craving it? So it's really, what is it about the wine? Is it the taste, the sensation, the look in the glass? And so what we're essentially doing is rewiring those neural pathways to something very different. and we've, you know, I think with Jules, you've tapped on every alcohol known to man for the to get over the cravings. But it's interesting when you go through that to go that red wine that I thought was delicious and beautiful and had that effect on me, even look at it. Sorry, yes, because there's that emotional connection, the emotional connection, absolutely. And even down to the connections. If I don't drink, how am I going to connect with my friends? Or that's that key and the feeling of losing joy. But in terms of the craving component, it's a really big thing. And so by tapping on that, we can change the way we view it. And now, and so, you know, looking at red wine, even the thought of red wine for me now, I can look at a glass and it almost looks like a medicine, like those really revolting tasting medicines.
And you used to love your wine, your red wine, didn't you, Katie?
Oh, my Lord. Yeah, and I was just going to say, you know, what happened, I mean, I have had my own battle, and we don't have time to go into that, but during the pandemic, because it's very different in each country. In Australia, it's a little different, and where Jules and I are, we're actually been very, very fortunate. But I've had family on the East Coast who haven't been so, and some of my family members who haven't been drinkers, they were saying to me in the height of it, they were like 3 o'clock, as Jules said, 3 o'clock, waiting to be able to open that bottle of wine. And that was jarring. I was like, oh my Lord.
I believe it.
Yeah. And I'm spending like a lot of so we're already starting to take registrations and having, you know, first sessions with people. So we like people to have a first an initial consultation with one of us. So a 20-minute free, is this for you? Is this going to meet your needs? And, you know, like a couple of women that I've spoken to were like, I can't wait till October, I need to start now. So we've started with some single sessions, you know, the initial session, and we're tapping on, so when's the next time you're going to be wanting a wine? Well, it'll be this afternoon at 4 o'clock. So what's coming up? I need that wine to relax. I need it to unwind. It's going to take me straight to I don't care land. Like, I just need to numb out at the moment. And so, you know, the first session, you know, the second half of that first session might be just really tapping on that craving, and then I'm getting messages going, I had 4 nights without wine, I'm feeling so good, you know, like, so it really does. It's hard to explain if you haven't experienced EFT, how it can really make that a lot easier. But, you know, like Katie wrote a post about one of the testimonials, and a lot of the testimonials from Dry July have been like this, like, it was actually so much easier than I thought it would be. And we know that that's because of the EFT, right? It's, I mean, it's great to have support from other women who have similar issues. But, you know, like Katie and I know from our personal experience, and we're seeing it in the group, and that's the reason why we've added 2 individual sessions into this Sober October, because just the power of that 90-minute one-on-one with one of us, it really kind of sets people up for success before the group starts, and then keeps them going strong. So they might have their second session halfway through or towards the end. We just know it really does help that.
And I think you did touch on another, and I think that another thing that you just mentioned, Jules, is really about the group support. Tapping is obviously the big piece, but just the group, the females, everyone has a very similar story. And I think there's moments in our lives where we go, we're alone, we're the only ones that feel it, we're the only ones dealing with this stuff, but it's not true. And, you know, I think there's that sense of, oh, thank gosh, I'm not the only one feeling this way, or feeling like I'm not coping, and it's the overwhelm. So just that collective, collaborative process is really important too.
There's
and the shame.
I was just gonna say shame. You know? It's like, oh gosh, like you look on social media and everyone else has it together, and they're making their, you know, fun food Fridays and all the things, and you're just like, I do not have my shit together. And you're like, I'm exhausted. And so it's like, oh man, there's so much pressure and there's so much comparing, and I'm sure it's the same in Australia. But like, you think that everyone else has got it together and you're the only one that's struggling. And especially with everything going on right now, there's such a big isolation piece right?
Huge.
So we have to social distance. You know, we can't even smile at people in the grocery store. Like that feeling of isolation and loneliness is so huge right now. So I love the fact that you are doing this in a group format, so that people do know that they're not alone. Moms do know that they're not alone. And like, we all want to throw our kids out the window at some point. Like that is a natural feeling. It is
real feeling.
Hard to mom. It is hard to mom. And I look at like these women too, like that are struggling in their marriages. Like, we have spent way too much time together, you know, through the quarantine. And like anything, if your marriage was a little bit rocky before, spending that much time together, adding the stress, adding screaming kids there all the time, like it is hard. And so just giving people hope, you know, like there are options out there. Like that's what I love about EFT, because even if you went through counseling before and you're like, hey, I don't feel any different, I'm like, then keep trying, keep searching, you know, try different things, but stay open to the fact that you can heal, you can feel better, and you don't have to settle for mediocrity and like feeling like crap all the time. Like there's stuff out there. And so that's why I get excited about stuff like that. It's just like, yes, giving people hope. Does this call you? Does this feel good for you? Like jump on it, you know?
Thanks, Cassie. Well, I think it does open things up to really expose. So there is that element of, you know, there is a realness why we are drinking if the marriage isn't great, or if there's something else that's going on in their world, you know, but as you said, the beautiful thing is we do have this tool that is going to help quite quickly to work through that, or to and to soften the blow, because we're drinking for a reason. We're drinking for a reason.
And another thing that I'd like to add too is like, with the state that we're in right now, a lot of people's trauma, if you've been through stuff in your life, it starts surfacing when you are feeling all this stress, and that can be overwhelming. And so having a tool like EFT can be a game changer, because when you work with a practitioner, you're working through that trauma so that it constantly isn't resurfacing and resurfacing and resurfacing. And you can finally give it the love that it deserves, right? But people don't always make that connection that like, oh my gosh, like I am, you know, having nightmares again, or my anxiety has skyrocketed with everything going on. Well, you know, if you had issues before, again, it's just completely exacerbated in this type of environment. So it's important to have a lot of tools in your toolbox, right?
Totally.
Anything else you guys want to add? I know that we probably went past, usually I go past the time limit. I'm notorious for that, but anything else you want to add, or any, I'll be posting the info above here so that people can always, you know, check out your website and ask you guys questions, or they can post below. But anything else you want to pop in?
I guess, you know, in terms of just if there's this little inkling of, I think I'd like to find out a little bit more, or I think I might have a little bit of an issue and want to make a change. We're not saying to now be alcohol free for the rest of your life. We're just saying try it for a month and see what happens. And just to, I guess, reach out to either Jules or myself for the 20-minute free consultation, just to find out a little bit more of the structure, what it might mean for them in their world. And there's no obligation. We want people to join, because it's a commitment. It's 5 weeks of a committed
it's 6
time.
weeks,
And obviously,
including
6 weeks, sorry.
Including the training about EFT,
That's right, sorry, 6 weeks. So we just want to make sure that it's the right program, we're the right people for them, because that's really important too. And so I think just, you know, knowing that there's that 20-minute opportunity to have a chat and find out more, just to see whether there's that element of, oh, I think I might want to have a little change or a breakaway. And
just so you guys know, like I personally have worked with Katie. I did a couple sessions with her and she's phenomenal. So I'm sure Jules is wonderful too, but I've just experienced Katie for myself. So
thank you.
Yes. So I love that idea, because there's no pressure then. Like, hey, if this is speaking to you, like, you know, check it out at least, you know, give it a 20-minute phone call or a Zoom call or whatever it is. And, you know, just get more information. That's all you got to do. So thank you guys for showing up, and thank you for helping with the world right now. God knows we all need it, and especially moms. Like, I mean, we need stuff like this. So I love that you guys are taking that initiative and really, you know, putting some effort in there and really helping women with what they need right now. And that's tools, you know, ways to
Absolutely.
help with what's going on right now. So thank you so much
Mhm.
for doing it. It is morning for you guys, but it is night for me. So I'm going to go eat dinner.
Okay.
It's so strange.
Yeah.
Okay.
You
Thank
guys
you
get a
so
good
much
rest
for
of your
having us, Cassie.
day. Oh, thanks
Thank
for
Thanks,
you.
Casey.
Bye.
Okay. Bye-bye.